I'm really excited to introduce our next speaker. Margaret Stewart is a parent in Alabama using this at home. So, to the question that was answered, you're going to hear from someone who's doing that just right now. So, Margaret?
Hi, thank you for having me today. As Vijay mentioned, I'm a parent. I have a daughter who's 25 years old, and she is also on the autism spectrum. She has multiple disabilities, but we um, learned about Floreo through a webinar that I attended, and I was excited to try it. I was a little skeptical at first, and some of that was around the sensory issues with the headset I was concerned about, um, and then about her attending to the lessons. We'd never done much as far as a virtual reality, and I definitely didn't have a lot of experience with it in this realm. To tell a little bit about our background, I was working as an engineer when she was born, and in the area where we live, there aren't a lot of resources as far as services can be difficult to come by. We initially lived in a very rural area, and we moved our family to a more urban area to be able to receive some of the services we knew she needed. But eventually, I made the decision to stay home and work on coordinating a lot of the services. Just like I had used my project management skills in the work setting, I threw all of that into creating a team around her uh, to help her get all the resources that she would need to help her reach all the goals that she had. When we started out, um, I had a whole room in our house where we did the little Velcro schedules and all of that stuff. We were doing all of that on our own. I wrote social stories, and we videoed our friends and family and tried to do all this, I would say old school. And it took, I can't even explain how many hours we spent developing all that, as you can imagine. And as technology has come along, it's gotten a little bit easier, but you have your own library of all these things just for your one family member. And so when we received Floreo and had an opportunity to look at some of the content, I was just overwhelmed at how it was like someone had seen all of our history and knew what we had been working on and what we needed. And it was took it to an entirely new level. I was just thrilled at the idea of not having to try to create all that content for one thing, and that hopeful at how she would engage with it. When we first started out, they had suggested to us to try wearing the headset for about 7 minutes, and it quickly grew from that at first. And what we learned also is if you go on their website, there's a lesson library where you can look through that. And even as a parent, I can go in there and lesson plan. And I have a support, one of the support people on her care team also is very engaged. We are just super fortunate at how supportive she is. And she and I work together to go in there, and she's also scoured the library for what she thinks would be the most engaging and beneficial for my daughter, and makes up lesson plans and for the time that they work on that. Having a set time of day that they work on it, as far as doing this in the home, has also been very beneficial. It's something that she looks forward to. Um, she works part time, and so we look at what she does in her work world, so to speak, and different skills that would benefit her there. And we pull from the lesson library for that. One of the initial lessons that really grabbed my attention was because part of her work involves her going out in the community. I wanted to make sure that she although we'd spent a lot of time practicing crossing the street and doing things like that safely, there were lessons on practicing that within Floreo, and she was very interested in those. There were also lessons on interacting with police officers and other people in the community. And prior to that, she might not make eye contact or stay in one place while she was interacting with people. So our family was concerned about her being able to navigate that successfully, and she's been very engaged and interested in those programs. And one of the things that I was really pleased about was her support person had the idea that after she worked on those lessons in Floreo to go somewhere in our community that was a similar setting and try those skills out to see how she was generalizing them. And we were so pleased to see how excited she was. And she even remarked in one of those settings, it's just like being in Floreo. And so using the crossing signals and things like that. One of the things I had questions about initially was getting her to wear the headset. And I think some of our other speakers have mentioned that. And everyone at Floreo was super helpful. When we had issues and reached out, they helped guide us on getting trying out different headsets until we found out what worked. And then later on, we were able to get a Quest headset. And Heather with Floreo had this incredible suggestion of this extension. So I thought I'd do that for a little show and tell. This has been a huge game changer because it's so much more comfortable. And since you have to move around or you don't have to, but some of the activities you can move around with, having something that she felt it was secure on her head and comfortable gave her more confidence for moving around. Initially, we started with my swivel desk chair, and that way she was able to turn in all directions for some of the activities, but still be seated. But now she's getting comfortable standing up, and she also really loves. It's been curious to me what she would be the most fascinated with as far as the different lessons, and some that are her very favorites are the yoga exercises. And she now is just looks forward to those and asks for those to be included. And after she's worked all morning, it's a way for her to relax as well as get prepared to engage in the more demanding skills that she's going to practice. She also loves the sensory activities. And one of the first activities that she became interested in was one that was called Cloud Conversations. And when she was younger, we used to take a lot of road trips, and we would do this as a family. And her younger brother, we'd say, "Oh, what do you see in the clouds?" And she would be there with us, but never participated. And so it was very surprising to me that that was one of her choices in the program. And shortly after doing that for a couple of weeks, we were on a road trip, and she looked out and she goes, "Look, I see a rabbit up in the clouds. What do you see?" And she just generalized everything that she had done in the program. And that's always a question I have as a parent when I'm working or taking her to a therapy or some sort of intervention that we have spent a lot of time planning out and devoting her time to. Is she going to generalize this into her natural environment? And to see that was so encouraging to me. Let's see, everyone's been so great. I feel like I'm just going to keep going on the same topics they were. So I'm trying to think of some of the other
Yeah,
things that
no, it's
we've benefited
wonderful.
from. um,
Margaret, thank you so much. This
yeah,
is, I mean, it's, I think for folks, especially folks asking about at-home usage, as you can see, inspiring parents like Margaret make it happen. All of you out here, if you're attending, it's because you're trying to do the best you can for your kids, and it's so inspirational to meet so many parents along the journey of trying to build Floreo for everyone.